The process often begins with a few raindrops, nature's way of replenishing the earth with one of its most valuable resources. We pray for it, we curse it, but we know we can't live without it. Here in Tennessee, some of us depend on it to make a living, tilling soil beside the rivers that sustain life and invigorate entire communities. Others find comfort in the joy it brings as worries are cast aside in favor of casting into a favorite fishing hole. Most of us take clean water for granted. Perhaps that's because Tennessee is one of the richest areas in the nation in high-quality water resources, ecological diversity, and natural beauty. We have clean, fresh water for drinking, for industry, and for recreation. But increasing demand by a growing population makes our responsibility to protect these resources greater than ever. This is especially true with today's ever-expanding construction on previously undeveloped land. As the earth is moved, proper steps are required to protect against the effects caused by the natural process of rainfall. Without taking those precautions, erosion and sedimentation begin. Processes that look small, but over time rob us of our valuable land, leaving scars that are expensive to heal, clogging streams, rivers, and wetlands, and choking the wildlife they support. Before we go any further, let's define erosion and sedimentation. Erosion is the process by which soil is removed from the land surface by running water, wind, or ice. In Tennessee, erosion is primarily caused by stormwater runoff. Sedimentation is the redepositing of eroded soil. Again, stormwater is the main culprit. While a certain amount of erosion and sedimentation is natural and necessary to support life in our streams and lakes, too often the amounts are out of balance. For example, the Hatchie River in West Tennessee is so clogged from erosion that some of its twists and turns have actually been cut off by increasing amounts of sediment piled up over time, creating what is known as oxbow lakes, separate bodies of water that are replenished when the river floods. When the Hatchie and other bodies of water run muddy, vegetation for aquatic life is smothered and habitats are destroyed. This is especially critical in Tennessee, where we find endangered fish and mussels that make their homes in stream bottoms and depend on clear water for life. In fact, 61 aquatic species found in Tennessee are threatened if today's pollution levels continue. The loss of even one species would have an impact on our ecosystem. Just as surprising, almost 4,000 miles of streams and rivers and 3,000 acres of lakes in Tennessee are listed as impacted due to sedimentation. This is not a problem for the future. It is here today. When it rains on vegetated areas, a large portion of the water is either absorbed or eventually evaporated. Some of the water from rainfall soaks into the ground, where it's taken up by plant roots or collected as groundwater. The vegetation slows the travel of water so that it can soak in. The portion that runs off as stormwater is slowed so much that very little erosion occurs. On a construction site, different forces are set into motion that can create serious problems. When rain falls, it dislodges soil in very small amounts. The movement of these particles, caused by the impact of rain on the ground, is called splash erosion. Its effects are deceiving until you discover that 1 inch of rain falling on 1 acre has a total weight of about 108 tons. In Tennessee, 50 inches of rain will bring to bear about 5,400 tons of water weight per acre each year. The soil particles dislodged by the splash erosion become part of a layer of soil that is removed by overland sheet flow, or sheet erosion. From sheet flow, water quickly concentrates into streams, forming rivulets. These rivulets carve small grooves into the land. Rivulets collect into larger streams, carving even larger channels called rills. Ranging in depth and width up to a foot, Rills tend to recur after heavy rain and can result in tremendous loss of soil. If not corrected, the rills soon become larger, deeper grooves called gullies. The stormwater moves into streams, then into small rivers, and finally into big rivers, depositing sediment as it slows down. In the 1990s, Tennessee ranked 7th in the nation in change in land developed, a reflection of the growth needed to accommodate the lifestyles we expect. Each year, over 122,000 acres of land are stripped of vegetation for the development of homes, businesses, and other structures, making our state a leader in that category. Because of that growth rate, Tennessee has one of the highest rates of soil erosion in the entire country. Bare soil, if left unprotected here, can lose up to 200 tons per acre each year. That's roughly equivalent to 8 tandem dump truck loads of soil per acre per year. If soil erosion practices are not put into place here in Tennessee, the state stands to lose over 24 million tons of soil to development alone. That's a problem for the environment. It's also a problem for those who make a living from development and construction, because often that soil has to be replaced. Yet, with proper erosion and sediment control practices in place, we can reduce soil losses to naturally occurring levels, ensuring clean water. Reelfoot Lake in West Tennessee is one of the greatest hunting and fishing preserves in the nation. With over 25,000 acres of lake and wetlands, the wildlife here is diverse and abundant, as is the tree and plant life. Just a few years ago, nearby land use practices accelerated the rate of erosion into the lake. Fortunately, land users joined with federal, state, and local officials to stop the excessive erosion and sedimentation, helping to maintain a true biological wonder. Whether we're talking about construction projects or riverbank erosion, a permanent vegetative cover for the soil is often the best solution. Here at Shelby Bottoms near downtown Nashville, erosion was a chronic problem along this 1-mile stretch of the Cumberland River. Because of a constant undercut caused by current erosion, 5 acres of land and over 3,000 trees had been lost, with more to follow unless changes were made.
This area had been decimated, so it was raw land. The trees had fallen, erosion had taken all the grass away.
Gary Moody and his construction company worked with the Corps of Engineers to take riverbank soil exposed to the elements and created a vegetated multi-level retaining wall system.
We dissected the slope, depending on the length of it, into 2 and 3 and 4 areas, and trenched those areas and planted vegetation that's deeply rooted and that colonizes an area and is capable of reproducing itself, and then kept it watered that first important year.
To guard against the active erosion caused by the river current and tow, as well as waves from commercial and recreational boat traffic, a biodiversified plant structure was created. It would act as permanent erosion protection, a living erosion control structure.
It's habitat. It's riparian habitat at its thickest and best, and it can sustain a lot of life through this area.
To Gary Moody, such erosion protection should be the norm, not the exception.
In today's world, with the products and the tools that we have, there is no reason whatsoever to contaminate any creek or river today from construction activities and that type of thing.
Here's another innovative way of handling soil erosion. This is a wetland full of aquatic life. Now, you might think we're near some picturesque river or in some other beautiful area of the state of Tennessee, but we're actually at a landfill, the Williamson County landfill.
There's a lot of elevation on this hill.
Where Operations Manager Louis Bumpus is known as much for his innovative conservation methods as his landfill management.
But we're using erosion techniques that are the latest of the state of art.
The evidence is scattered across the landfill's 400 acres, from constructed wetlands to retention ponds, flex-mat gabions, dirt-face gabions, super strong silt fencing, the use of mulch as water diversion berms, and a self-styled aqueduct for water runoff. The landfill also makes use of the more common techniques like check dams, geotextiles, riprap, coir rolls, and of course, vegetative cover. As a result, Arkansas Creek, which runs through the landfill, contains over 50 different kinds of invertebrates and 26 species of fish. Bumpus says it's all a part of working with Mother Nature.
If you'll do anything to enhance nature, she'll take it over, she'll heal it just like it.
Here's an example of how Bumpus decided to handle water runoff from about 30 acres of the landfill. Stormwater flow down a hillside is slowed by thick vegetation. Near the bottom, it meets coir rolls and a permanent type of check dam made from a flex mac gabion. This helps control the water's velocity. Silt is caught while the water moves slowly through the gabion. From there, the water flows into a retention pond, which will be stocked with fish one day, and then, well, we should let Bumpus take it from here.
Well, see, the water basically comes down this spillway here. It goes into a stilling basin. It goes off the waterfall, hits a splatter block, into another stilling basin, over a waterfall, another splatter block, another stilling basin, up over to the waterfall and out to the Reno mattress and spreads the water out. And by the time it goes through these 3 stilling basins, the water comes out it has no velocity whatsoever.
And water with no force carries no silt and has no erosion capabilities. At another part of the landfill, tractors provide dirt cover for an area that will soon catch stormwater runoff while providing a bit of recreation.
And this is where we'll start building the golf course. And this will take all the stormwater through this pipe and truck it down there.
Yes, a golf course over the landfill. Another project just beginning is a 4-stage wetland.
Look at the nut bush already coming up there. Nut bush, cattails and all take and clean up stormwater. So you're enhancing the creeks.
With all his creative erosion control ideas, it's no wonder Louis Bumpus is considered an award-winning conservationist. Working with what nature provides through the creative implementation of stormwater controls, he makes sure that whatever water runs from or through the landfill carries no silt once it leaves the property. The next time you see neglected erosion control devices, such as silt fences or straw bales, remember the tremendous impact erosion and sedimentation have on our environment. With over 100,000 acres of new land being developed every year in Tennessee, we're in danger of losing up to 200 tons of soil per acre each year if proper erosion controls are not used. The soil from a construction site that washes out into the street during a heavy rain doesn't stay there. It flows into a creek, and the creek into rivers, literally changing their courses at times, killing vegetation and aquatic life. But with the use of effective erosion control methods and the creative use of what nature has provided, erosion and its harmful effects can almost be eliminated so that we can preserve the soil that we have and put it to good use as well. The process begins with tiny raindrops, but it also begins with you.